An article written by Maya Ernest for InputMag.com. Shout out to InputMag, by the way. Y.U.M.S, the colorful sneaker and accessory brand, is relaunching after surviving a multi-year battle with Nike to celebrate. Y.U.M.S is re-releasing its signature Sweet Series sneakers made up of 4 limited edition sneaker designs, all inspired by treats as sweet as Y.U.M.'s court verdict. Wow, it is funny because I think even when I was reading this, I was like, yo, somebody paid for this article. But anyway, Y.U.M.S, an acronym for You Understand My Style, was originally right.
I didn't know that.
Was originally founded in 2007 by street artist Tex Moten as the designer and chief creative officer. Tex brought details like translucent soles and graffiti art to sneakers, drawing inspiration from his favorite food and snacks. The success of Y.U.M.S led to Nike to take notice of the brand and follow suit against them.
You guys have a collab coming up?
Who, Y.U.M.S? Sure, let's hope so.
You know his style.
The success of Y.U.M.S filed a lawsuit against them in 2009 for design similarities. With the lawsuit spanning several years, it was eventually taken to the Supreme Court, which resulted in Nike's first ever covenant not to sue. What's a covenant not to sue?
Sometimes you can make an agreement between different companies, like who have similar names or the same name.
Yeah.
And say, well, I won't sue you if you just stick with this specific type of thing, like belts. And I won't sue you if you're just selling shoes.
Right.
And so that is just an agreement between these two companies.
Few brands survive such a legal feat. Nike is notorious for defending once again, Nike is notorious for defending their sneaker designs, as evident the lawsuit against people like Warren Lotus. Nike even went as far as to additionally sue the manufacturer that worked with Warren. In the case of Nike v. Y.U.M.S,
Lala Factory.
Y.U.M.S admitted to drawing inspiration from the fashion industry's most loved trends, along with a few special ingredients. But the same could be said of popular street brand A Bathing Ape, who Nike has never sued, despite the obvious resemblance. The Bapesta, a reimagining of the Air Force One low, has been around since 2002. Its prominent place in streetwear history, as well as Bape's notoriety, may be one of the reasons Nike has never touched the silhouette. Y.U.M.S, on the other hand, doesn't hold the same status as a brand like Bape, making its survival in court that much more monumental. The Y.U.M.S Sweet Series sneakers are available now in unisex sizes, ranging from 5 to a size 13. You can find them at yumslife.com. So they had a covenant. So basically they settled, like you said.
Yeah, basically they came up with some type of agreement.
Right. And so I don't even know what Y.U.M.S look like. Can we pull up a picture of a Y.U.M.S?
No.
I just want to see what a Y.U.M.S look like.
Because it remind me of everything
Is it how
Soulja
it
Boy used
sounds?
to wear.
I just want to see what
You
Y.U.M.S
remember how
looks like.
Soulja Boy used to dress? Just picture
Yeah,
that.
fucking awesome.
Oh,
I don't know why, but
wow.
every time I think of him, I want to think of Flavor Flav. So I can't.
They look similar.
Like they dress.
So
similar.
that article
like
right
that.
there cited both of our points that we were stating while we were on.
But it was nothing fact. All it said was that they didn't sue, and and once again they're basically coming up with reasons. They didn't say this is the reason. They just saying
no. That wasn't the point. Well, I'm saying not.
They
Saying
brought
that-
up everybody
but-
brings up the Bape. I would bring up the Bape
I'm saying,
too.
but you're saying they went after the smaller companies, but Bape is a bigger company. They knew they had fear of what?
No, they said Bape has more of a the shoe itself actually has more prominence in streetwear history and all that other shit. So the brand itself
No, it
ain't
was
so much
the
bigger.
part about
It said popular streetwear brand, A Bathing Ape, who Nike has never sued. The Bapesta, blah, blah, blah. It's been around since 2002. Its prominence place in streetwear history as well as Bape's notoriety. It ain't say shit about
What was
the
after
size
that?
of the
What-
brand.
what-
Maybe one of the reasons. Maybe one of the reasons Nike has never touched the silhouette. So once again, they're speculating. And nobody's saying that this is the reason.
But
And they also said that Nike is notorious for defending their sneaker designs, which is what I said earlier.
when it comes to bigger brands,
Which is bigger brands like who? They've sued bigger brands.
No, I'm saying Warren Lotus. What's the name?
If your argument
I'm
can't be they scared of suing bigger brands when they sue bigger brands.
talking about on this.
It doesn't matter. Suing is suing.
On the joint, bro.
Whatever.
Suing is suing. Like you don't just sue a bigger brand just because.
No,
like,
we
dog,
sued a bigger brand for the same reason you sued Y.U.M.S.
That's my point. You sue big brands, you sue small
Well,
brands.
yeah, absolutely,
So why all
but-
of a sudden? So you can't say that they don't sue Bape because they're a bigger brand when they sue bigger brands than Bape.
But for the same thing.
That's
that
why I
Y.U.M.S
said
and
facts.
Warren
Like
Lotus
that's
did,
like me
though.
saying you scared of
That's-
dunks when you
that is-
fought.
That is facts, though.
That's not
they
facts.
sued
It's-
everybody
that's
else.
facts.
That's like saying you scared to fight dunks, but you fought Shaq. Like that don't make no sense.
I'll take Shaq too.
Who took his jersey?
But if I agreed to fight Shaq and
I am
Conor
looking at the
McGregor and now
camera.
they're free to
God
grind
damn
with
it.
Dunks, you would think that.
Like if you fight Dunks and you fought Shaq and then all of a sudden you want to fight Dunks, I'm gonna be like, I'm
But
gonna
never
assume.
fought, never fought Dunks. So if I
I'm
agreed to
just
fight
saying,
Shaq
we
and
can't-
Dunks-
No, what I'm
One
saying
time
is-
in his
Oh,
parking
my
lot.
goodness. Let's
What I'm
let it
saying
go.
is, if
Let's
you
move
fought
on.
Shaq, if you fought Shaq, somebody's bigger. If you fought Gino, somebody's smaller. I'm not going to run to the first thing. Well, he must be scared of Dunks. What makes me think that you're scared of Dunks?
Dunks is fucking crazy.
Right. You fought somebody bigger. You fought somebody smaller. So it can't be the fact that he's big
But,
or.
if you talked about my
If you
mama,
like,
I
well,
fought-
he's bigger than
if you
Gino,
talked
so
about
I'm
my
scared.
mama and I fought you.
Why
He
I gotta
talked
be
about
the
my
little
mama
guy?
and I fought him. He
Yeah.
talked about my mama and I didn't fight him. You would bring up the same reason.
No, I wouldn't. I'm like, I wouldn't say, okay, well, you scared of fighting him because he's bigger or he's smaller.
No. You say the reason. Like, hold on. I talked about your mama. We squared off. Gino talked
I
about
would
your mama.
want to
we
know
squared
why,
off. Okay.
but I wouldn't sit there and say you were scared of him because he was bigger or smaller. If you're
We're
saying
on the same team.
If you're saying
Let
that
'em
they're
go,
scared
man.
of suing
Just
Bape
stop.
when they've
Let
sued
'em go.
bigger companies, that makes absolutely no sense to me. None. They sue bigger people, so therefore it can't be the size of the company that's preventing them from suing.
My thing is that you continue to
Puma
sue
has
people.
better lawyers than Bape. I guarantee you, Skechers has better lawyers than Bape.
We don't
So
know. Everybody-
Skechers gets away with murder.
they do. Point is, I mean, they literally almost kill kids.
Actually, here's the point. They settled that.
Yeah.
Which would be even more of a reason why, if I'm Nike, I don't go
Here's
after
my
Bape
thing though.
for that.
Here's
I
my
was gonna
thing.
say.
That one thing that probably when they went that and they was probably how they sell that because they found out what some of their things in their trademarks didn't cover some of the things that Young can get away with, right? So to say they like, okay, we'll negotiate with you. What they should have did took what they learned from that meeting, what Young's got away with, and refiled their patent so it can cover those things. Okay, Young got through. We used them for a test run to cover what we missed and didn't miss in our trademark.
Hold on, I don't know whose comment
Reapply
that
it.
was
So-
that just came up there.
I mean, but not necessarily, because the one thing that was said in their agreement was that basically what John said, like the covenant agreement is basically saying that, hey, you can only make this, you can't make X, Y, and Z. So maybe part of the agreement was, hey, look, you can make a shoe that looks like an Air Force One because people are still going to
Can we bring up that
identify
last
with it as an
comment?
Air Force One. So we'll still get, the credibility for it.
Can we bring up the last comment because once again the
we're not-
the article did touch on both things, but once
Right.
again,
But they didn't lose that.
Oh, so no. I'm saying would not saying the same reason.
where's
like,
the
okay, I'll
comment
let
at?
you
It
make
says the
because-
article said both arguments.
That's what I said.
No, I agree. The article said both arguments, but I would say the only factual thing, because the second part was speculation, because they said this may be why Nike didn't do it. As far as Nike defending, they have a track record. That's something you can look up. That's something factual. Like speculating as far as why they're not, there's nobody knows. So therefore, it's all speculation and conjecture. Therefore, nobody really knows. The only thing that we do know is how defensive Nike gets over their shit. And so based on the only fact that we do know, I'm looking at this Bape situation like, okay, while I don't know why they're not going after Bape, what I can say is since Nike goes after everybody legally, there must be something legally. Just like I gave the analogy. If you are notorious for not showing up on time, but Guru is, but then all of a sudden Guru is showing up late, I'm not going to speculate any negative reason why Guru showed up late. I'm going to be like, you know what? It might be some type of emergency. Now, if you came in and said it was some type of emergency, I'm going to look at your track record. Well, you always show up late. Is it always an emergency when you show up? I'm going to assume, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Guru before I give it to you. Because he has a track record of showing up on time. So when he doesn't show up on time, that's out of character. You showing up late all the time is in character. So you show up late, I'm not going to give you the benefit of the doubt of an emergency. So with Nike, because they have a track record, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that says, you know what, legally it must be something that prevents them from doing it. I'm not going to sit up here and speculate. It could be. I mean, we can come out the ass with a whole bunch of reasons. I mean, shit, the Italian mob is preventing Nike from fucking suing.
Well,
Bape.
let me ask John this: if they had a covenant agreement with Y.U.M.S on that particular
This sounds
shoe,
biblical, by the way.
It
Some
does.
type of covenant.
they had an agreement for that particular shoe, and that shoe is basically the Air Force One. Could they then actually go back and resubmit for trade dress to try and cover anything that they may have missed before they had that agreement with Y.U.M.S?
Well, that's what we're saying. You can't amend it, but you could apply for a new one, right?
Well,
Well, would they be able to?
so you're saying that if they have this covenant, then that would. Can you just restate the question?
So they had the they had the agreement with Y.U.M.S. Basically,
I
hey,
hate that name, by the way.
hey, you can make the shoe, basically, right?
Okay.
Would they then be able to reapply for a new trade dress that basically with them applying for a new trade dress, would it somewhat like alter that agreement that they have with Y.U.M.S to protect them from the future in terms of anybody else trying to steal their designs.
Okay,
Sounds greasy.
Let's say that Nike has this deal with Y.U.M.S, and then Nike goes ahead, or whatever shoe company, and they file a trade dress for something that's covered by the agreement. Then I would say that that agreement, the Y.U.M.S or whatever company, would bring that agreement to court and try to enforce it, and then basically stop them from doing that.
I don't think Nike's out here doing people like
Which that could be
favors.
another
I don't see
reason,
that
you know,
scenario
like
ever
they're-
happening.
No, that's what I'm
It's
saying.
more
Like, they not.
They're
Well, that-
going to defend
well,
themselves when they can.
That's what I was saying would
That's
be
what I'm saying.
maybe that could be the reason why, that could be another reason why maybe they haven't chose to go after
I would
Bape.
love
Because
I-
they can't, because of a reason like that, because they've settled an agreement with another company.
Are these things made public? Like the actual arguments being made in court and stuff?
Okay, so the arguments made in court are generally public. If there's some type of agreement, then that not necessarily will be public.
Damn.
Depending on the
Yeah.
nature of the agreement.
I would love to know what was said.
I would say that they probably don't have some type of agreement, and if they did, it was probably about different categories within clothing, not necessarily different nuances between shoes. Because why would you limit yourself if you're Nike? There's no, I don't see there's any reason. They'd rather just solve this in court.
So looking at this, to kind of put this thing in the bow, looking at the thing with Y.U.M.S, does it look more like Nike didn't want to take the official L and just say, okay, we're going to just settle, as opposed to continuing on and taking the official L?
Well, I
in
mean,
court?
it could have been the other company that wanted to settle, and then they came up with some type of agreement. I think that this
That's
was
true.
probably the situation also with the Lil Nas X shoe, the Satan shoe. Is they must have
Oh,
realized.
they got over on that.
They must have realized that there's no way that they're going to win this. Nike would have pursued it to the end, so it must have been the other side that was the one who said, "Hey, okay, let's make a deal."
No, I think they got over on that one in the case of Lil Nas X, because I think they were supposed to return the shoes, which we all know nobody's going to return the shoes because the shoes are worth way more than what you paid for.
Yeah, and that's kind of like
So,
an empty.
That was
type
kind of
of
that was kind of
victory.
a win-win for
Like,
everybody.
hey, sorry guys, we won't do it again. We're gonna stop right now, and we won't distribute any more shoes.
Right.
Well, and I think to make the courts happy, they said like if you want a refund, return them and we'll process it. If no one
Yeah,
chose
okay.
to.
Well, the key,
Why would you?
Right.
the key language they use, if anyone was confused about this shoe being from Nike, then you can go back. So that it comes down to the confusion. That's
The
what-
wording is
that's what they were
everything.
arguing.
Yeah.